Welcome back to another exciting video here at Eurobike. In this video, we're going to be moving away from all of the mainstream brands because we're going off the beaten track to find all of the crazy brands that you've never heard of. Let's go find them. Bamboo bikes from myboo next. This is incredible. I can't say I've ever seen a bike constructed in this exact same process. So, as you would guess by the name, we've got bamboo tubes used in the main sections of this bike, and then all of these like lugged intersections, which are this slightly different color, are constructed using a couple of different methods. On this gravel bike that we've got here, we've got a cedar wood, which is made into sort of a woven rope fabric texture, and then that is used to wrap around these lugged sections and then encased in a resin, similar to how a sort of carbon bike would be made. And then on some of the other bikes they've got, like the urban commuter style adventure bikes, they're actually using a more rope-like product for a much stronger, bulkier intersection between the tubes. So you can see it's like that, and then the other side you can see a little bit more resin that it's encased in. And then if we move to the back of the bike, we've got aluminium dropouts, which look like really nicely machined and then bonded onto the bamboo tubes. These frames are actually made in Ghana. Now the brand is German, so the frames are made in Ghana, then shipped across to Germany and assembled to a complete bike. Got carbon fiber fork, and the people on the stand here were just telling me they've invested heavily in trying to help sort of the local people in Ghana with like developing, with building a school and contributing to helping them have better living standards and educating and teaching people how to create amazing works of art like this. Okay, right, we're at the L2 stand here. We've got their electronic gravel group set this side, and over on the other side, we've got their 2x electronic road group set. We've got the EGR and the ERX. What's really fascinating here is that we've got electronic shifting, but the thing that I think is most exciting is that by using the app, you can customize whether you want your electronic group set to be 10 speed, 11 speed, or 12 speed. It means if you're trying to upgrade your bike, you haven't got to buy a new chain, cassette, and everything like that. They've got a really cool demo unit here where you can basically control the speed that it's going at, turn it up to the max. Look at that, there it is. And then you can just flick through and operate the gears. Feed of the levers is nice. Shifting seems pretty crisp and precise. Let's go check the road stuff out next. So L2 is a far smaller brand, but it's really cool to see it like emerging out and really sort of bringing technology that can rival the big brands that we're all familiar with. The finishes and the way that everything works looks pretty cool to me, and I'm intrigued to see how this, like, as a brand and technology evolves further, and maybe we're going to see this become mainstream one day soon. Pretty cool nonetheless. And we've got the same technology here where you can customize whether you want 10, 11 or 12 speeds. Ultimate bike bling next with oversized pulley wheels and oversized pulley wheel cages. So this is the Aero Wing derailleur from a company called TRiPEAK. Now I actually used their oversized pulley wheels when Ollie and I went to Grand Fonda, New York and did the race. This is a complete cage system here with a removable aero cover. It's available with a carbon fiber version and also a transparent plastic version if you want to really like show off the maximal bling of the colored bearing covers. Now, as well as these, you've got the pulley wheels here, which I used in Grand Fonda, New York. Naturally, I chose red in GCN colors. And then if we work our way over here, we've got a couple of different things going on here. We've got bottom bracket solutions where you can use different like Shimano SRAM, rotor, dub fitment, all with like a 3-in-1 fitment system. Good solutions for the bikes with loads of different standards. Then over here, we've got some different headset bearings going on. So the thing that I'm finding most interesting is a new self-lubricating bearing system. Now headsets on modern bikes are an absolute nightmare if you need to replace the bearings, all the integrated hoses and cables running through the headset. Whereas here, using this self-lubricating like Teflon technology inside the bearing, the theory is it lasts much, much longer and means more time spent riding your bike than fixing it. Okay, more cool tech next, quite literally. This is from a company called Ultra Cool Tech with some cooling bar tape. Now the people behind this have been involved previously with a body temperature sensor. So the idea here is that this is helping to regulate your body temperature through an endothermic reaction, essentially drawing heat away from your body onto this specially designed bar tape. And the idea here is you wet the bar tape, and then the special feature incorporated into it is helping dissipate the heat and distribute it through the entire section of bar tape, sort of like a bit of a heat sink really. You've got a couple of advantages here, so you've got the mental advantage that you're feeling something cooler, and then also the physical advantage that heat is quite literally being transferred away from you to your handlebar tape. And Yeah, it's not just available in blue, there's black as well, and potentially more colours to come in the future. I want to talk about bike tyres next. Not any old tyres. These are from a brand called retyre. They are 100% recyclable and far better for the environment because they don't use any rubber and they're not vulcanized. So it's using something called a TPE, which is a thermoplastic elastomer. So because it doesn't use rubber and because it doesn't need to be vulcanized, there's a lot less energy demand going into creating the tyre, and also then because it hasn't been vulcanized, it can be recycled a lot easier, again using much less energy, making it better for the environment. Now at the moment they're really only focused on sort of like tyres for children's bikes, but also other sectors like trailers, pushchairs, buggies, prams, that sort of thing. But in the next few years they're actually going to be moving into the road bike market and sector as well. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how this product evolves, and hopefully one day might be able to see it on my road bike. How many teeth do you want on your chainring? All of them. 100-tooth chainring here at KAFORO, which makes this crank arm look absolutely minuscule. It also makes my head look minuscule as well. What's bizarre is the fact that the crank arm actually sits within the chainring. Now, understandably, the guys on the stand here have said no one's actually going to use this size chainring. It's just to showcase the technology. So we've got loads of different cranks, chainring designs, and different components that they're making here. We can see a little cutout of some of the crank arms that they're producing as well. So we can see the forging and the shaping here, which is really neat to see. This is quite possibly the biggest chainring I've ever seen in the entire world. And if you were going to try and put this on your bike, you're probably going to have to join two chains together because one chain is not possibly going to be long enough. 3D printing in titanium is absolutely fascinating. I mean, the bikes are incredible. There's a kid's bike down here made from titanium. We've got titanium handlebars combined in with carbon fiber section. We've got 3D printed titanium bikes, but also this little shuttlecock here to really showcase how fascinating and intricate and precise this technology can be. Now, the guys on the stand here have told me this can actually be used as a shuttlecock as well. It's strong enough to do that. But the resolution and detail that can be 3D printed here is absolutely fascinating and mind-blowing, and is far more precise and accurate than I had ever realised. So if you come in real close, you'll be able to see all the incredible details here. And for me, that's pretty mind-blowing. As I've said before, I'm an absolute sucker for a titanium bike. Quite literally, hot tech next. This is a little sweat sensor from a company called FLOWBIO. This is the S1. This is the unit which has been developed and is ready to ship. So this is going to measure your sweat rate, the sodium content, and it's also got a little sensor on the back to monitor skin temperature. At the moment, this is recording all the data as you're outside exercising. It clips onto a little heart rate monitor strap, and then you can retrospectively look at that data to assess how much sweat you're losing, your sodium content, and your skin temperature at the same time. But I'm told that there's going to be updates coming soon, which is going to mean that you can actually look and assess this data real time. So hopefully in the future, we can see that kind of tech evolve, but really crucial to monitor and help improve your performance to avoid getting dehydrated. More Groupset tech now. This is the EDS Grouspet from a company called WHEELTOP, which you may not have heard of before, but we've got a wireless derailleur system here. What is pretty neat is we've got the traditional sort of two button setup here on the right hand side, but on the left hand side we've just got a single paddle because, well, if you're operating the front derailleur, you've only really got two options: either go up into the big chainring, or if you're in the big chainring, you just go down. So it kind of makes sense to have a single button, whereas some of the big brands are using two buttons. When you look at it like this, I kind of get the whole reasoning behind it. Shifting seems pretty neat and quick. I like that. The only thing that I notice in here on this little demo unit, which has got the front derailleur trimming automatically there, is that the front derailleur does seem noticeably slower than what I'm familiar with. So while the shift is nice and smooth, it just takes that little bit of time longer. I'm really intrigued by new Groupset manufacturers, really kind of like pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and hopefully it's going to push the big brands to innovate even further still. Yishun Bike is over my shoulder, another manufacturer of carbon wheels. Now, so far, walk around here, I've quite literally lost count of the number of carbon wheel manufacturers and rim manufacturers that we've walked past. It's kind of mind-blowing. I want everyone to cast their minds back now to just over a year ago when I tried to make puncture-proof airless tyres and absolutely failed miserably. Well, it turns out Supreme Dutch are an airless tyre company and have beaten me to it and done a far, far, far better job. So this insert is what they're manufacturing here and is able to be retrofitted into pretty much any tyre. Now, understandably, you have to choose the right size insert to match up to your tyre sizes, and it's going to add considerable weight to your tyre, but it does mean you are literally never ever going to get any punctures. To fit this onto your wheels, you are going to need some special tools and equipment They've got a setup for like OE suppliers where you've got a big machine and then also a smaller machine which can be used in bike shops. And I think using this insert and a tyre is going to cost you around €100 for the insert and a tyre per wheel. So you're going to need two, so it's around $200 for your bike. But I don't know. How much would you spend to mean you never get any punctures? The weight of one of these inserts is about 750 grams, so considerably heavier than an inner tube. Now, at the moment, the density of this foam, well, you've just got one option, and it on a 26-inch or 45, 50mm tyre like we've got here, it's around 3.5 bar, but the guys here are saying that they've got new densities currently in development, and then at some point soon you'll be able to choose between what kind of like effective tyre pressure you have. Having said there's loads of different wheel brands here, these from AVIIAV are like nothing I've ever seen before. Now the actual wheels we've got here are the Aldo model, AVIIAV being a Korean brand, but the like finish and detail on the rim is quite literally off the charts. I've never seen anything like this before. We've got this like mirrored finish, it's like so much little detail in here. If you come close you're going to see how incredible it looks. Carbon fibre wheel rims, and then over here we've got some really cool cutouts of their hubs. We've got like dual ratchet designs and stuff like that over here. Loads of wheel designs, but so far these ones have been the most impressive. One of the most fascinating things about being up here in the Hall 9 area is that we're seeing almost like kind of behind the scenes ever so slightly. So we're seeing lots of different companies that act as manufacturers for lots of different brands which we're more familiar with, but also we can see some of the processes of how things are made. Here at HC Forging, they're showing the forging of aluminium parts. So the way that this process works, in case you're not familiar with it, is you start with your aluminium blank, which is shaped roughly and closely as possible to the end item. That way it distributes the material evenly when it then gets pressed to end up with something like this, which is the next step of the process, until you eventually work your way down through the finishing of each different part until you end up with a finished article which looks something like this, which is much smoother and has got all the faces machined and all the threads finished in it. And here they're dealing with motorbike parts, bike parts, exercise bike parts, and then once you've got your stamped aluminium item, you can then cut around the section to start ready for finishing. So here's your crank arm, and then here's the section where it's been cut out. I think by now we've all seen 3D printed covers on top of saddles, but here at Samassi they're showcasing what else can be done using the same kind of technology. So we've got slip-on shoes here using the exact same material and processes as what are used over here on the saddles, and it's pretty much the same technology that's used across all of the different saddle brands that are out there. And apparently they're selling these shoes absolutely loads in China, but they don't export them anywhere else. But there you go. I had absolutely no idea that you could buy a shoe that was entirely 3D printed in just like a normal everyday style. Here, this is a giant chainring from Raketa, which translates to rocket. It's a track-specific chainring, and it's got an aero crankset attached to it with a new standard of 200 BCD. The idea behind this is to make the bolt mounting surface as wide as possible to reduce flex in the chainring. It's designed for track riders, as it's fitted to this track bike over my shoulder, and it's likely to be used in the Olympics by the Netherlands team. Now the tooth profile is industry standard to match with the track chainrings, but also the main body of the chainring is now 50% wider than the standard chainring to reduce the flex as much as possible. And the guys here say that there's almost zero run out on the chainring, even when the riders are doing like 2,500 watts. But there's other cool stuff as well, because over there's a really cool gravel chain set which has got some custom anodizing on it. So that is a load of different tech from brands that you probably haven't heard of. Please do let me know in the comments section down below if you're familiar with any of these brands and what bit of tech you found most interesting. And don't forget to check out over on GCNTech, because we've got all of our other videos here from Eurobike too, where you see brands that you're perhaps slightly more familiar with. Right, that's it from me. See you later.